Tonight on CBC Vancouver News.
This is indeed a good day, and one that I've been waiting for a long time.
Reopening and restarting. BC triggers a plan to return to normal.
I'm just hankering to get going.
From restaurants to fitness facilities, businesses are gearing up for a post-pandemic boom. And
native species are being wiped out.
How an invasion of lizards on Vancouver Island is causing problems.
This is CBC Vancouver News.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. Well, it's a big day for BC in this COVID-19 pandemic. Some of the province's restrictions are being loosened today, and we now have a detailed roadmap for how BC will return to the pre-pandemic normal. Briar Stewart begins our coverage tonight.
First thing this morning, restaurants in BC were back serving customers indoors.
It's amazing how just being able to sit inside a restaurant can just feel like a sense of normal, you know?
The province unveiled its gradual reopening plan this afternoon, which hinges on case counts continuing to drop and vaccination rates going up.
This is indeed a good day, and one that I've been waiting for a long time, as I'm sure many people in British Columbia have too.
By June 15th, organized indoor gatherings can increase to 50 people and province-wide travel will be allowed. By July 1st, if 70% of people have their first dose, then casinos and nightclubs can reopen with limited capacity, and there can be some spectators for indoor sports. By September 7th, the province hopes all workplaces are fully reopened. Venues will be able to hold large indoor concerts, and wearing a mask will no longer be mandatory. BC hopes for a return to Canada-wide travel by July. Some good news for Robert Sung.
I'm just hankering to get going.
He runs tours in Chinatown and Granville Island and has been relying on staycation tourists during COVID, but he's still being very cautious.
I'm starting to get reservations now, bookings, and I respond to the bookings subject to COVID protocols. Because I have to be factual, I have to be genuine and real to the potential people that are coming in to do the tours.
There's still no certainty around when international travelers can return, but clearer timelines are welcome for those hardest hit by the restrictions.
This is the largest of our 3 venues.
Vancouver's Arts Club Theatre had to cancel 24 shows during the pandemic and hope to be able to once again stage large productions late this fall.
The larger shows definitely need to have a larger capacity of an audience, and that's what we're hopeful that we can get back to.
BC's plan for early July on is based on at least 70% of the population being given 1 dose of the vaccine, but they're hopeful the rate is higher than that, and officials believe that they'll be able to give people their second dose much earlier than the current 4-month window. Now, even though virtually all restrictions are slated to be lifted come the fall, officials do say that they realize some people could be anxious and not ready to put away the masks just yet. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Vancouver.
Now, as Briar mentioned, the reopening dates are contingent on meeting specific benchmarks. Tanya Fletcher is here looking at what can start up again and when. Tanya, gatherings, let's start there. What can we do as of today?
Yeah, the gatherings are split into 2. Let's start with the social gatherings first. So this involves people you know, like friends or family. So as of now, you can have indoor gatherings with up to 5 people or 1 other household. We'll just go through the highlights here. By July 1st, more of a normal return as well. This includes activities like sleepovers or family reunions. And by September 7th, at the earliest, we can expect normal social contact. We had to ask Dr. Bonnie Henry what exactly that meant. Feels like it's been so long. But especially for being able to say hug loved ones starting today.
If your grandparents have been immunized and they're going to be part of your social connections again with your grandkids, yeah, you know each other, you know what the risks are. Now's the time where you can get together, you can hug again. And I'm thinking by the time we get to July, if things continue in the way that we expect, that we'll be able to hug our neighbors again.
And now to organized gatherings. So this includes people that may be strangers. Starting today, indoor seated gatherings of 10 people are allowed. By mid-June, indoor gatherings of 50 people are a go. This could mean going to a movie. And by Canada Day, fairs and festivals can resume. And come September, concerts can return as well. Now here's a look at restaurants and businesses. So as of today, indoor dining with groups up to 6 are allowed, even those without, not inside your household. So friends and family elsewhere. By June 15th, banquet halls can reopen with limited capacity. And as of Canada Day, casinos, bingo halls, and nightclubs can reopen.
Okay, encouraging news on many fronts. I'm sure everyone has a favorite there, but nothing has changed as far as travel restrictions go, I understand?
Yeah, that's right. So for now, the non-essential travel ban will remain in place. So take a look at this one. So still no recreational travel allowed between BC's regional zones. That won't be lifted until mid-June at least. From Canada Day and beyond, recreational travel can continue across the country. I asked Dr. Henry why BC is delaying lifting the travel ban within the province.
It is a very effective measure of stopping transmission and introductions into communities when we're not yet at that point where enough people are immunized, where our case levels are low enough. So that was the rationale around that.
Now let's drill down more into which sports and fitness activities are allowed as of today. So low-intensity indoor fitness classes can resume. That's of today. By June 15th, local teams of all ages can have outdoor and indoor games and practices. From September on, spectators should be allowed at all sporting events with return to normal competitions. And we should also mention that work-from-home guidance is now being eased. That's triggering a gradual return to the office over the summer. And religious services are set to resume as well. Details are still being finalized, with more details to come later this week. Once again, all of these are the earliest possible dates. It all depends on meeting the caseload and vaccination thresholds first. Anita?
Lots of information there. Thanks, Tanya. And some good news coming from P&E organizers tonight. Plans are already in the works for the fair to, in fact, go ahead this summer. Organizers say they are cautiously optimistic about a reopening for in-person visits now after this afternoon's announcement from health officials. We'll definitely see reduced capacity from pre-pandemic years, and organizers say the final details will be rolled out in the coming weeks. There are 289 new cases of COVID-19 today in BC. That's the lowest daily total since the beginning of February. Sadly, one person has died from COVID-19. Hospitalizations and critical care patients remain steady. The number of vaccines given to BC adults is nearing 3 million. And now almost 65% of adults have gotten at least one dose. A large and loud party in downtown Vancouver early Sunday morning ended with more than $11,000 in fines for the host and partygoers.
The host of that party was issued a $2,300 ticket, and 16 party attendees were each issued a $575 ticket.
Police were called several times for reports of a loud party at 1200 West Georgia Street. The host and partygoers refused to open the door, but police eventually got a search warrant. A turntable and some speakers were also seized. And police are searching for a woman who allegedly told school students that COVID is fake and then spat at a staff member.
Have you seen the little worms in those masks?
On May 14th, the unmasked woman entered a Saanich schoolyard. She allegedly approached kids and told them the pandemic is fake and that masks contain worms. When a staff member approached the woman, she became aggressive and spat in their face. Anyone who can help identify the woman is asked to call police or Crime Stoppers. We have new details tonight on the deadly shooting in Coquitlam over the weekend. The victim is a 42-year-old man. Mir Ali Hussein was found on the ground and died on scene. He was known to police. The suspects were believed to be driving this stolen red Buick. It's not clear if the shooting is connected to the deadly spike in gang violence. And locals in North Vancouver are worried a park redesign could drastically shrink a popular off-leash dog area. Plans for Kings Mill Walk Park would turn most of the off-leash area into a habitat enhancement zone. Newly released renderings show it rained down to almost a third of its current size. Upset dog lovers still have time to sound off to the city as park planners are still taking feedback before a final plan comes out this summer. And it seems like a good idea. Hit the beach with a shovel and a bucket and harvest some oysters, mussels, and much more. A bounty from nearby oceans. But as Susanna De Silva reports, not only is it illegal, it could also wind up making you very sick and possibly even kill you.
The sun is up, the tide is out, and the search is on.
First time come here, I just want to exercise and have fun.
Flora Chu said she was unaware it's illegal to dig for clams. Bivalve shellfish harvesting hasn't been allowed for decades in the Lower Mainland because they can be toxic, though she isn't worried about getting sick.
With the chicken to cook, it's yummy food, soup.
All the worst fear is that someone gets sick and possibly dies.
Bivalve shellfish, including clams and mussels, are filter feeders, so contaminants build up in their systems. Pollution, but also naturally occurring biotoxins. They can be poisonous and fatal.
Can affect primarily the elderly, the young, little kids, and people with weakened immune systems. You know, we worry about people handling contaminated shellfish, especially kids. They like to play with things. They like to play with, maybe collect shellfish, and then of course their fingers go in their mouths.
Harvesting clams is illegal, but catching crabs is legal with a license, and some regular crabbers try to explain the rules.
I try to tell them, you know, that it's rate tight, you shouldn't be picking up those things, but some of them understand, they will stop, but then when you walk away and turn around, they start picking again. So
they just ignore you, so I just think there should be more signs posted.
And in different languages, they say, but officers say they find harvesters of many ethnicities, and translated pamphlets are available, as well as outreach on social media and ethnic newspapers.
And I'll go up to butter clams.
The BC Centre for Disease Control is launching a new information website this week. It tracks cases and says 3 people got sick last month, but that most people don't report it, and many think cooking the clams make them safe.
While cooking will prevent you from getting bacterial illnesses, it's not gonna at all do anything with the toxins. And in fact, sometimes the toxins get more potent after cooking.
And besides the wide variety of illnesses, harvesters can also face fines starting at $250. Susanna De Silva, CBC News, Delta, British Columbia.
Okay, the Vancouver aquarium otters are breaking the internet. Viewers on the video streaming site Twitch are going wild for these watery stars. Four otters from the Marine Mammal Rescue Center have found themselves a large following on the platform. Now, Twitch is usually known for hosting video gamers showing their skills, but the sea otters are now putting pro gamers to shame in a new video category for people who stream while wearing swimsuits called pools, hot tubs, and beaches. I mean, yeah, I guess they're like, that's a pool, right? They can totally fit
It's
into
true.
that category.
Yeah,
It's
there
great.
was a lot of information there. First of all, that category that exists that I didn't know about. But yeah, I would definitely choose to watch the otters, I think, over gamers. I know, especially on a beautiful beach day like we've had.
I was
well,
just
I
going to say.
Most of today. Very much the kind of weather you'd like to sit by a pool or at least watch people or animals playing around in one. It is coming to a bit of an end. We've got a few big things on the radar. A big storm for Wednesday night. I'm going to take you through the timing of that. And a lunar eclipse tomorrow morning. But Anita, I've got to, you know, take the lead right now and say that Vancouver doesn't have the greatest shot. I don't want to get everyone's hopes up, but I'll break it down coming up a bit later on.
Well, it's good that you are telling us that now because I'm sure everybody was hitting the Google trying to see how they can get that glimpse. So
I got you.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Joe. During the NHL playoffs on CBC, just a reminder of how and where you can watch this show. We'll be on every weekday at 6 p.m. online, streaming on CBC Gem, YouTube, and Facebook. And then we will be on TV after the hockey game each evening. Those times, of course, will vary depending on when the game starts and ends. You can always watch our show on demand, streaming at our website, cbc.ca/BC. Well, it's a tiny structure that holds some big secrets and a world record. Coming up, we take you inside Chinatown's Jack Chow Insurance Building and tell you why it was built out of spite. Thank you for staying with us during our commercial-free live stream. Well, a year ago, the Nova Scotia Nature Trust inherited a whimsical house, a home that went viral for its fairy tale-like interiors filled with wooden carvings and a solarium of cacti. Now, many are curious about the man behind the house. Colleen Jones has the story on the couple piecing together his life.
Meet Dave and Celia Alder going through Ray Titterington's things.
His dad.
It's through his personal possessions that in many ways brought him back to life.
I think it's important for everybody to be remembered. And as our interest became so piqued, we just thought, we don't want this man to be forgotten. We want to share his story.
Tools still intact, all the...
We did this story a year ago after Ray passed away.
The wood shop right to where his bedroom is.
With no heirs, Ray left the home he built and the carvings he made to the Nature Trust. The eclectic house sold shortly after the story aired. Now enter Dave and Celia. They moved into the house to gather and sort through Ray's things. When they discovered his photography collection, it painted a clearer picture. Ray was so much more than a man who lived alone and carved.
Because every time we turned around, there was something
new.
We found a VTR. Victor Raymond Titterington. We found those initials everywhere. As much as he wanted his privacy and everything, we wanted to respect that. He took pictures of everything he did in his life. He got a timer set up so that he could take pictures of himself because he was traveling a lot by himself.
Their work has led to this online book called A Life Well Lived. It details his life first as a young man in Ontario learning to be a machinist, then his move to Port Laibert. They write about his collection of sports cars and, of course, building his dream home.
His friends said that they didn't think that he was a lonely person. He just chose to be a solitary person, but not a lonely person. Some of these are his mock-ups.
They have this box they'll give to the new owners of Ray's house. They traced his travels right around the globe.
When did he go around the world?
It was 1984.
His ribbons from his younger days entering hobby shows in Peterborough, then later entering photography competitions. His carvings were one facet of his life, but his artistry, that has many tentacles.
Just so creative. He kept drawing sketches of different things he was going to work on. And,
right up to the end.
Right up to the end in sketches.
Colleen Jones, CBC News, Halifax.
It's amazing. You can read more about the late Ray Titterington's eccentric home on cbc.ca, and we will be back in a few moments with more news from around the province. The world record holder for the narrowest commercial building is located right here in Vancouver's Chinatown. The Jack Chow Insurance Building, also known as the Sam Key Building, is only 6 feet wide. Now, despite COVID-19 taking a toll on neighboring businesses, owner Rod Chow says the structure isn't going anywhere.
A spot house is a building or something done to a building that's meant to piss somebody off.
My name is Rod Chow, owner of Jack Chow Insurance, which is the skinniest building in the world in the Guinness Book of Records.
I'm Eve Lazarus, and I've written a book on Vancouver's hidden history. Chang Toy was a really successful businessman, and he owned the Sam Key company. And around 1912, the city decided to widen Pender Street. So they came along and they expropriated 24 feet of the 30 feet. So of course that left Chang Toy with just a sliver of 6 feet.
Back in the olden days, this building housed up to 13 different businesses. So if you look at it from the front, it looks like a really big building, and there's actually multiple doors. For us, as insurance business, we integrated the entire building so that we can actually get from one side to the other through this glass walkway right on the sidewalk. And then you can see the glass staircase inside as well. We actually put that in. That's very unique because the city doesn't actually encourage glass staircases just because of fire hazard. And it goes up into the second level, which each little section is like a bay window. So, but normally with the bay window, you can actually look out a bay window, right? But here, these bay windows, you can actually step out onto them. So that gives a little bit more space upstairs. The extra foot makes a little bit of difference there. So we have an underground tunnel here under the glass sidewalk where people walk on. People walk above, but if you go underneath, you can actually see people walking above. You can see their feet above you. So that's pretty cool when you're underneath. Our theme in the building is mini or skinny. So everything in the building is either skinny or mini. You know, everything here is skinny, right down to the toaster oven, or the skinny toaster oven.
The pandemic has really taken its toll on Chinatown. We're seeing above average vacancy rates in Chinatown compared to the rest of the city. Some early numbers from, actually mostly outdated numbers from October were showing levels of 18% vacancy. So that means 1 in every 5 shops are vacant.
I think buildings are so much more than just bricks and mortar. They hold the stories of the Chinese people, they hold the stories of Indigenous people, of the black community, of legendary women that tend to get passed over in traditional history books. And I think when we've got the physical presence of the history, the building with the history in it, that we can go and see and touch and experience, then it just becomes new for a whole new generation of people.
You know, in the long term, I'm not worried about Chinatown as a neighborhood, and there's going to continue to be economic development. But is there still going to be that cultural character for the neighborhood? Is it going to be the same as how we understand it? It's going to change, absolutely. But is there aspects of it that we want to maintain and conserve? And those legacy businesses are a critical part of that.
We hope that the Chinatown businesses, they will start to open back up again, and then we'll have more people come in here and just really enjoy Chinatown the way they should enjoy Chinatown. We're here to stay.
Well, it's an invasion of lizards, one that could be sparking a big eco problem. We'll tell you why next.
It's one of those ceremonies which never seem to go stale. Indeed, the 21-gun anvil salute can be found nowhere else in the world except the Royal City, the city of New Westminster. Back in 1870, the Hyack Volunteer Fire Brigade gave the 21-gun Royal Salute with a cannon. However, the cannon wore out, so another method had to be found to celebrate the monarch's birthday. The solution was found by placing gunpowder between 2 anvils, then touching off the charge with a red-hot iron rod. The effect was most satisfactory. The 12-man Hyack crew have the operation down to a science by now. In most cases, the duty has been handed down from father to son, and it's truly an honor to be selected to serve on the Hyack battery.
We more or less inherited. For instance, I have been the toucher off for a good many years because my dear old pappy was somewhat 40 years or more before me doing the job of touching off the anvils. So I was asked to carry on.
Fire company members, many.
Traditionally, the Hyack crew retires to a nearby location for a traditional tot of rum, but not before the customary 3 cheers to the Queen.
Hey! Hip, hip, hooray! Hip, hip, hooray!
It was a musically eclectic evening of popular concertos and homegrown premieres. This piece, called Of Wind and Water, was composed by Mark Armanini of Capilano College. Vancouver musician Chusha He played the ancient-sounding pipa. Now, some came to hear the music, but many came to hear the hall. The Chan Auditorium was designed and built to have some of the best acoustics anywhere in North America.
The clarity aspect, the articulation, the definition.
At least that's what Russell Johnson is banking on. He's the head acoustician from the firm Artec in New York. It's his job to make this hall as acoustically perfect as possible.
Basically, the room is narrow, it's high, and it's fairly long, and that's the first part of the recipe right there.
The next important ingredient is the size. At 1,400 seats, this hall is small and shapely. The walls are curved to resemble a cello, and every surface can be adjusted to alter the sound. It's this 37-ton sound-reflecting canopy that's the acoustician's magnum opus.
Well, it's a common reptile that originally comes from Italy, and apparently it's been ignoring our current travel bans. There's an invasion of wall lizards. Now, it first appeared on Vancouver Island in the late 60s, but seems to be on the move now.
Wall lizards, the adults generally have some green color to them, and the scales on the back are really tiny, about the diameter of a sewing pin. Hi, I'm Gavin Hankey at the Royal BC Museum, and here on Vancouver Island we have a serious lizard problem. The first wall lizards, only a few were released here in 1967 in Saanich, just south of Brentwood Bay. And then in 1970, another 12 or so were released in the same area. And the problem we have now just stemmed from those few lizards that were released. They were originally in a private zoo, and when the zoo closed down, the lizards were just let loose, free willy basically, just off they go and left to their own devices. And this environment is perfect for them, so they obviously prospered. A guess is between 500,000 and 700,000 on Vancouver Island, Denman Island. There's a new population, hopefully not a population, on Salt Spring and Pender Island, and we've also now got them on the mainland. If we said 500,000 lizards, each eating 1 or 2 insects a day, that's a huge impact on the biodiversity of insects, spiders, pollinators. We really haven't got a grip yet on their impact on our pollinators, and that's one thing I'm really worried about. Do you like strawberries? If you like tomatoes, if you like any fruit and vegetable, blueberries, raspberries, they're all pollinated. So if pollinators are wiped out from a lizard invasion, then that would have a serious cascade effect on our food production. Native species are being wiped out by just simple lizard predation by an animal that shouldn't have been here in the first place. So that's the real crime, is that something that was so avoidable in the sense of not letting a lizard loose is now having a serious impact, and we're all going to have to live with the after effects.
The problem is the lizards are just so cute.
I was going to say, I'm not saying we should start the hashtag Free Lizzie, but it might be out there already.
Done. I've already done it.
I'll respond.
Okay, and Joe, not sure if this upcoming rain is good or bad for this growing lizard population, but either way, probably good for our situation here in the province.
Yes, you're right. We are getting some rain, and for some parts of the South Coast, a lot of rain. Yeah, jury's still out on what that does to the lizards. But let me show you the special weather statement that Environment Canada issued today for the Sunshine Coast, down through Howe Sound and Metro Vancouver. It's going to be northern sections of Metro Vancouver that look to see this low pressure system move in tomorrow night. So it's a Wednesday overnight story into Thursday morning, and that's where we could see up to 50 millimeters of good rain. But coming all at once, we may see some localized flooding. Now, getting you through the overnight, for that lunar eclipse, we'll start to see the moon pass into Earth's shadow around 1:30 a.m. if you're up late or up early, but we are looking at overcast skies by the time we get into that full lunar eclipse. They're always streaming online, though. in case you wanted to catch it. I'm also tracking some more thunderstorms for the East Kootenays tonight, where we do have about 229 homes on evacuation alert because of serious flooding over the weekend. So I'll keep my eyes on those thunderstorms. There's our heavy rain for Thursday. And then, Anita, just as we head into the weekend, we've got a nice summer-like forecast coming up.
Looking very good. Can't complain. Thanks, Jo.
You're welcome.
And you can always find our news program online, cbc.ca/BC. Dan is here at 11 o'clock after the National. Good night.